These things are too complicated.
You own one of these?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, there was one. Invested in, fixed it, and sold it.
What is it?
It's a 512 TR. It's a part of the Testarossa generation, but it's a second generation with a lot of upgrades. It's a more desirable car. They probably fetch 200 up to 250, someplace in there, depending on the condition and such. But yeah, rare car, hard to do work on because these are the last of the handmade cars. These weren't done in a wind tunnel. Even like body panels and stuff, those are fit to the car. So it'll be stamped out, but when they put them on, it's not like modern day cars where you can just take one from one car and hang it, or buy the part and hang it, it'll be a perfect fit. They have to be fit by hand to this car and how it was assembled. So it's definitely a more complicated repair when you got to repair something like this. Back here again.
Back here again over at Strada and Corsa for the Cup of Joe show.
Dude, nice. Joe here. Give you all the knowledge and lack of intelligence I got.
You know what I do want to know though, Joe, is this question came up to me just yesterday. I was bike riding with my friend, and he was like, "Size, would you buy a Ferrari before buying your house? Do you buy your dream car before buying your house?" And I gave him a pretty crazy answer, and I want to see what's your take on it. How do you feel about that?
It's a sense of motivation then, or something like that. Okay, well I can tell you what I did in my own situation, and that was I didn't buy a house first. I bought a Ferrari first.
Nice.
Right?
Okay, so you know where I stand with this situation. Okay, good.
Oh, so wait, we're talking about you now.
No, not talking about me. We're not talking about me.
You're trying to sort out what you want to do. Oh man, all right. No, but it depends on, again, like it depends on the circumstances. In my case, I didn't. I already had a company. I had a business. I had retail clothing stores, and I was working 7 days a week, 100 hours a week, and all I really at that point was saying is I at least want to feel good driving to and from work. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to be able to enjoy doing that because all I did was work. And on top of it, when you go out to the nightclub or the restaurant on the weekends, I mean, it felt great to valet park it and stuff. And it was sort of a lifestyle reward. You know what I mean? It gave me a chance to have something to feel good about. But for the different situation of a guy, let's say he's only got a fixed income, he's got a job, or if he wants to take and have an investment, well then the car is a crazy choice because that's a depreciating asset. However, my cars that I got were maybe salvage title car or a damaged car, and I fixed it, and I repaired it, and I drove it, and I turned around and sold it for the same amount that I had into it. So it was a good, sound financial choice. I mean, my circumstances might have been different, but than some folks because of the skill set that I had. For you, let's talk about you, man. I mean, what is it? Why was it you'd want to buy one before you buy a house? Because, listen, you're in a different situation I was. My wife was my business partner. We had no kids. We were a lot younger. I was like 25 years old. You know what I mean? You're older, you got kids, wife. Go ahead, sell me.
My situation is a little bit different, but when I was younger, right, I always thought it made sense because let's say you buy the house, right? And most people would say, all right, after I buy the house, and I'll earn some equity and take the equity out to buy my dream car. You buy the house,
sure, you could
buy the dream car.
You could refi, wrap the car into a 30-year payments, and then now you're driving a nice car, which also you get to have your tax deduction because the purchase went towards the car, but yet it's in the mortgage, and so I mean there's a lot of, which of course you consult your tax professional for that, but there's definitely some benefits to it. Buying
I didn't even think about it from the tax benefits, but that's pretty awesome now that I know that.
Well, plus you spread out your payments over 30 years instead of a 6-year payment. But I mean, you might have to kind of finagle it because they're a lot tighter on that today than what they were back then. So.
Right. So I was thinking that would be a good, like, that's a good sound plan, right? To buy a house first and then refinance and buy a car. And my question was, would your wife really let you refi the house, take the equity out, and go buy your dream car? Would she really, really let you? To me, I don't think so, because it's like, she's like, well, no, we can invest
No,
into
man,
something
you're not
else.
gonna. Well, that or else you're not gonna risk your house or put a bunch of.
All that money to a car?
Yeah, all that money to a car, and then
College
on top
savings,
of it, I mean, let's say things start going bad. Now all of a sudden your mortgage payment's higher.
Right.
You can't carry that monthly nut like you would if it was lower. If you didn't have an extra $100,000 wrapped up, taken out for the car, and $100,000 is another what, $700-ish a month?
Yes.
Something like that.
Right.
Right.
There you go.
$650-ish.
Right.
So that's $650 you'll be able to keep in your pocket. So again, the circumstances change. Let's talk about you though. You're saying you come in here today and you're like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about buying a Ferrari, and it's before buying a house.
Absolutely, 100%. Why? Because if I buy the Ferrari, in my circumstances, I can actually use that as a branding tool, right? I can actually use that to brand myself, pull up to all these events, these very corporate events, to any of my business partners or businesses, pull up, park my car in front of there, get out there, shoot some branding, use that content, and build this brand behind it. And when I already achieved the business opportunities from the branding that I've accomplished from branding myself with the Ferrari all the time, I can use that money, that income, and to buy a house. But I can also part out the car that I bought because they're worth more in parts. I can part it out, use that as my down payment to buy the house, and repeat it, and I'll buy my car. Because, but I've already built my brand, who I am. So to associate Seismic Films, Size, with Ferrari, now he's always in the Ferrari, that's tons of content I can do. Tons of
All
content.
right, well, you're talking about something totally different when you're talking about a business.
I'd rather buy the car before I buy the house.
See, because you're talking about a business investment and also the exposure that you have through media, and because that helps to build a brand. I get that. I didn't have that.
Okay.
I
so
just
why
want to
did you-
feel good driving to and from work.
That's exactly
That's
right.
all I did is work all day, every single day. I fought the battles of customers, employees, and everything else. And I said, man, I just want to get in the car and for 15 minutes, just feel the glory of the sound of the Ferrari howling it behind or in front of me, wherever the engine was for that particular car.
Wow.
But yeah, so, that then I guess that makes sense. But you still got to sell that dream to your wife.
I did.
You did?
She agreed.
What did she say?
She said 100% I'll back you. Because I am with the right people. I have you. I have Russ. I
Man,
have
don't
Sean.
bundle me up in this.
Oh, no,
Because
no,
when
no,
things
no.
when things go bad, she's gonna come after me. Listen,
Joe said on the Cup of Joe show, it's okay to buy the Ferrari. He should get the car.
Man, here
But
we go. I didn't realize I was getting lasted.
Here's
into
what's
this.
gonna happen. If I drive up to any event in the Ferrari, I'm gonna feel good. Like you felt good. You felt good going to work. I need that extra boost of confidence because when I ask for this invoice, it's with conviction. I know I'm worth that much because of the branding. That's confidence. That only, to me, like a Ferrari can give you, but anything can give you that. Like
Well, now you're talking about customer image and your image to them, and that could go either way. They might say, hey, your fees are too high, and that's why you're affording the Ferrari. I mean, it could go that way, but they normally like to see you drive a nicer car, because if you come in driving junk, they say this guy doesn't know what he's doing because the car he
100%.
drives is terrible. So you certainly have to have a much nicer car. People do have more respect for people who look as though they're making it in life. And you come in a $1,500 car, nobody's going to take you seriously.
Right.
They're going to say this guy hasn't made it yet.
Even though it does kind of make financial sense to drive a $1,500 car, because I've driven $1,500 cars, and it made financial sense to me. The extra savings that I get to invest into other things that kind of matter to me, equipment.
But if you have customer exposure, then you have to split the difference on that. Now I don't know if rolling in a Ferrari. I do know that a guy who has a Ferrari is one of my customers, and he's actually seen a decrease in business because people started hating on him.
Wow.
And so that's always something to think about. I mean, he's actually seen a sizable reduction because people came in and said, oh yeah, he thinks he's too good for us because he's driving a Ferrari now.
Wow.
So that's something that you might want to think about. But you don't have that type of customer base, so, you know what I mean, client base. So I wouldn't think that that'd be happening to you. In my particular case, I've already got the home. I haven't had a Ferrari for a while because I've been doing other investing, but I am in the market for another one. In my case, right, I'm probably going to be getting a challenge car. Now, it's not street legal, can't be driven on the streets, but I go to events, I go to track events, I go to Ferrari events, I'll transport it there. It'll be there for shows. People love to see a challenge car for the shows. I have the business name on the side of it. Also, when I go to Ferrari Club track events and things like that, I'll bring my trailer, my truck, my tools. I'll be able to give some technical support, but also the car. So the car is an extension of the business, and so that makes sense for me then to get back into it.
Absolutely does.
But I'm not really interested in getting a road-going car so much. Other thing you got to think about is you know, you start getting older and you get a little bit more humble, and you don't like so much flash in the pan. You don't like pulling into the gas station and having so much attention. You drive into the gas station with Ferrari or Lamborghini, you have people with cameras coming over, talking to you, etc. And it's just a lot of attention, and I'm sort of more, you know, I'm just sort of more
Download Joe.
Yeah, downtown.
Incognito.
I'd rather be driving the $1,500 car.
Right.
But back to getting the car before.
We call that is the under bucket. Kind of under bucket, kind of under, you know.
The under bucket.
The under bucket, that's what it is. That's the Bay Area slang. So when you're driving a $1,500 car, you just want to get under the radar.
Under the radar.
You don't want to be too flashy in a Ferrari. It's the under bucket.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, remember that.
It's a Cup of Joe show.
That term. So, but I mean, I don't know, man. It depends on the situation. But if you're a lot younger and you want to do something like that, it's sort of an intermission in life, then you know, go for it. Especially if the market's in really too high and it doesn't make any sense. But you want to sit down, you want to weigh all the numbers and go, you know, where's the market at? What can I currently afford right now? I can't. The car will springboard my business. Therefore, I see more money coming in. I mean, all those are things to weigh, you know. But man, you better watch out, because when you get wife and kids, I think all the viewers definitely want to know if your wife's got a sister, because this is a very rare situation where the wife with kids would say, hey, yeah, go ahead and buy yourself a Ferrari and enjoy that midlife crisis.
That's right. That's right.
We all know when you start driving that car, it draws the attention of the wrong crowd.
It does.
So anyway, that's for you. So
yeah, well, there you guys have it. Joe's take on whether to buy a dream car before you buy your dream house. And for business reasons, it kind of makes sense because you can use it for exposure, building brand equity, creating different content, and actually get the opportunities to work with other business owners that value that you're driving your dream car. But then again, I mean, you can also buy your dream house and eventually buy your dream car if your wife lets you and you don't have the wife and kids and life gets messy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you need to think about too is from a credit standpoint though, if you wanted to buy a house, you wanted to buy the car, it's always best to buy the house first, because the mortgage industry is far more stringent on your debt to income than an automotive loan. And so if you were going to do both of them, you'd want to do the house first. Okay, you want to get your house in, get that locked in, get yourself maybe even 6 months to a year's worth of payments that helps to build your credit. But then when it comes to the auto loan, they're far easier to get. They're not as concerned, in many cases, based on your score, they're really not concerned at all about debt to income. They just want to know, first of all, what your score is. You know, and a lot of times people, if their score is high enough, they don't even care about your job or anything. They get you a loan just based on your score. But that'll never happen with a house. And if you can always approve for the house and then turn on and approve for the car based on the same income. Even if they did an income verification and debt to income ratio, right? However, you flip-flop it and get the car first, you'll blow yourself out of the house. Even though in reverse you are approved, you do that car first and then house, you'll be declined for the house. Even though the debt to income ratios are there, you're highly likely to get declined for the house. So if you're going to get them both at the same time, get the house first, then wait, and then get the car. So.
Wow, thank you, Joe, for including that. That's actually very crucial. Yes, we want the dream car first, and sometimes, you know, but this makes more financial sense to actually do it that way.
Yeah, but if you're a long time out from buying the house and you know that the car is going to make some sort of improvement, maybe you emotionally, maybe you're like, hey, you know, I'm going to work twice as hard if I have the car. I'm already working hard, but I'm gonna feel better about how I'm working, and I'm gonna work more efficiently and more effectively and with a better attitude. Well, then it makes sense because the house has been pushed out anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever makes you happy, whatever drives your boat, there it is. Dream car or dream house. All right,
Whatever
guys.
floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about cars and Ferraris here at Strada and Corsa. Thanks guys for tuning in again for the Cup of Joe show. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, the bell notification, all that, and leave some comments down below.